On January 15th, 2013, the world was introduced to Disney Infinity, a new video game set to release that summer that would put players into a world where anything was possible, containing a giant sandbox creator with a Disney theming, developed by Avalanche Software and published by Disney Interactive Studios. Back in 2010, Avalanche Software and Disney Interactive released the game Toy Story 3 for the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, Nintendo Wii, and PC. Based on the highly successful movie of the same name, Toy Story 3 not only offers an accurate retelling of the movie in video game form, but also a secondary mode that arguably crushes the story mode in terms of quality gameplay, the Toy Box mode. This mode allows you to explore a huge sandbox based on a handful of locations seen or mentioned in the Toy Story movies, while also fully customizing it to your liking. As its title suggests, the Toy Box tries to simulate the experience of having a physical box of toys and throwing them all out to make whatever backcrap insane stories the human mind can think up of, by having all sorts of objects alongside the locales you visit for you to mess around with, such as a cow cannon, goo that can grow and shrink objects, plenty of vehicles to get around in, and even TNT you can blow stuff up with. Players in Avalanche themselves love the Toy Box mode, along with the freedom you're given to play in it however you want. In fact, one of Avalanche's very next projects would be a spiritual successor to this Toy Box. While this new game, codenamed Infinity, was being developed with its cast being expanded from the Toy Story franchise to roughly all of Disney, Activision and Toys for Bob had a project of their own unveiled in 2011. Originally a simple attempt at reviving the PlayStation icon Spyro the Dragon, it would become the video game phenomenon we now know as Skylanders. The main thing that made Skylanders unique was its fusion of video gaming and figure collecting. Rather than unlocking characters in-game traditionally, players would have to buy new Skylanders figures that use special NFC, or near-field communication technology, in order to be read by a USB base that came with the game known as the Portal, that, when figures are placed on it, would be read by the Portal and transported into the game world. The first game, Skylanders Spyro's Adventure, was a tremendous success, with kids and gamers alike eating the game along with its many colorful characters up. This game alone would generate nearly $500 million for Activision and Toys for Bob, leading to 5 sequels being made. Disney saw the success of this game and ordered Avalanche to create a competitor to Skylanders using the same Toys to Life technology. Using the Toy Box successor project they were already developing, they slightly reworked the game with it now using figures along with other accessories to add new possibilities to its already expansive Toy Box mode. And thus, on August 18th, 2013, Disney Infinity was released for the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, Wii U, Wii, Nintendo 3DS, PC, and iOS devices. 10 years later, I have decided to revisit this game to see what all it has to offer. Tons of physical aspects of the game were released, which is what we'll be looking at first. 29 main figures were made, along with 8 special figures, bringing the total to 37 figures for players to collect. There's also the Power Discs, which would unlock new content for the Toy Box, along with enhancing your character's abilities. The game starter pack is what you pretty much had to own in order to play the game at all on most platforms. It contained 3 figures: Mr. Incredible, Sully, and Jack Sparrow, the game itself, the USB base known simply as the Disney Infinity base, a playset piece letting you access 3 playset campaigns based on the 3 franchises the figures are from, a random power disc that was available at launch, and a webcode card that's used to unlock content specifically in the PC and mobile versions of the game. The rest of these playsets figures were available from day one as well, along with 2 extra playsets, the Lone Ranger and Cars. Roughly 2 months after launch, 1 more playset was released with Toy Story in Space. 9 extra characters not tied to any playset came out sporadically across October 2013 to April 2014. Hexagonal power discs either change the look of the Toy Box world you're playing in, or added new objects to play with, such as vehicles and weapons. Circular power discs are placed under the figure and can grant several different bonuses, such as extra damage towards enemies, a larger pickup radius, extra health, and more. Power discs were released across 3, or 4 depending on who you ask, waves, The first wave of 20 discs was released alongside the launch of the game itself in August of 2013. The second wave of another 20 discs came out in November of 2013. And the third and final wave, consisting of 17 discs, was released in April of 2014. There's also a special wave, consisting of 10 power discs, 6 of which were only released in this wave. It came alongside the launch of the game, and were sold exclusively at Toys R Us stores. All the power discs came in blind bags, so you wouldn't really know what discs you were going to get in each pack. Unless you were a pro and were able to either feel the power discs for rare ones, since they specifically had lenticular images on them. Yeah, there's a reason why they never did this again afterwards. Or not even take the discs out and just scan them on the base and see what happens. However, that last one would require you to bring your entire console setup to a store so that you can scan the discs before you buy them. You can even scan unopened figures because of how NFC works, meaning that finding figures with no progress made onto them at all may be a little more difficult than you realize, especially nowadays. The 8 special figures are crystal variants of characters already in the game: Mr. Incredible, Sully, Jack Sparrow, Lightning McQueen, Lone Ranger, Buzz Lightyear, Agent P, and Sorcerer's Apprentice Mickey. These figures do appear differently in-game, being called infinite characters oddly enough. Other than looks though, they function pretty much the same as their non-crystal counterparts, aside from their stats being slightly increased, such as their attack power and leveling up speed. In my opinion, this aspect of the game is definitely the cause of its inevitable downfall, but I do think they did the best with what they were given. Toys to Life was never meant to last, as it was just another fad Activision pushed out as much as they possibly could just to make revenue while people still liked it. Just look at what they did with Tony Hawk, or worse, Guitar Hero. With Disney Infinity, I think Avalanche actually did an excellent job with the figures. The amount of detail on each of them tells you how much they really cared to make sure this ends up being something even the most hardcore Disney fans will enjoy. The build quality on them isn't bad either. For most figures, breaking them would require you to do so on purpose, and even that can be quite a pain sometimes. Sure, the power disc can be argued as unnecessary, but I don't know, man. Being able to have modern physical items themed around all sorts of Disney franchises, including deep cuts such as Condor Man and the 1979 Muppet movie, that have functionality in a video game, is kinda cool if you ask me. But enough physical talk. It's time we take a dive into the actual Disney Infinity game itself.